Hello, in this video we're going to talk about how to use the meeting registration piece in Microsoft Teams as well as how to use the webinar features in Microsoft Teams. So specifically these two team resources are going to be used for if you want to require individuals to register for your meeting that you're going to have. And this is helpful if you want to know who is coming prior to the actual meeting. You can also use the webinar feature that is an enhanced version of a regular Teams meeting that we've talked about before. It does have some additional features and it is helpful if you are having a large group of people. We're talking, over 1,000 or so people joining in on your meeting. In that case, you would probably want to use the webinar feature instead of just the standard meeting. To begin, you want to log into your Microsoft Teams app, and then you're going to come over to the side and choose the calendar icon. Then notice up here in the top right, you have several options for types of meetings you want to conduct. So we have the meet now, which is, this is an emergency, I need everyone to meet now. I don't have time to plan it, or just something that's very impromptu, nothing formal that needs to be set in stone, put on people's calendar. So in that case, you would choose meet now. You could give the meeting a name if you want to, change it to something, quick meeting about X, Y, and Z. Then you would get the link to share, and then you could just share that link either in email or in the chat area for your team, that kind of thing. And that's going to let you just go ahead and start the meeting and have one just right that second. For more planned meetings, you can come over here and choose the 3 types of planned meetings. We've discussed a regular meeting before, just a regular Teams meeting. You can choose that, and this will let you schedule that, put in the date and the time, the required attendees, that kind of thing, and this will automatically send it, put it on their calendar, and put it on your calendar with the Teams link to join the meeting. In addition, we have the webinar. The webinar create the meeting piece looks very similar to the regular scheduling piece, and so we're going to go more a little bit more in detail with this, but notice that it looks very similar. Before I go into more detail with that, I do want to mention the live event. In most cases, you won't be using the live event because the live event is only going to allow you as the host of it, unless you add in external people to be the presenters. It doesn't allow for avenues for other people to talk to you. There is one Q&A section that's like the chat, but that's really it. It's very limited in terms of the interaction. It's more meant to be a one-way broadcast, which for the most part is not what we typically think of when we have a meeting. We're wanting that interaction and collaboration. So let's look more at the webinar piece. So first you want to fill out all these different requirements, the title, people who are required to be presenters, and then the date and time and all of that information. Alright, so in this case I have new student orientation. I've added in Jared as a presenter. I have posted the date and time, and then I've added in what we're going to be covering, which will also go out with the invite link. So something that you want to maybe consider when you're doing webinars, and you can actually do this with your regular meetings if you want to. It is a part of the regular meeting feature, but something you probably want to consider doing with the webinars is creating a sign up piece that's going to require them to register for the webinar before they actually join it. That way you'll know kind of who's coming and you can kind of anticipate your crowd. So you can do that by coming up here to the top and require registration. So if you don't want to require registration and you just want to send the link out and people click on it and join as normal, then you would have none. You can also require it for people in your org unit to be able to register for that event. You then want to customize the registration form. So we'll do view registration form, and we'll be able to customize what this sign up is going to look like. So you can upload an image or a banner to have on the background of your sign up. So you can add in the name, the date and the time of the webinar, the just general information about it, and you can even add in different speaker names and bios if you want that highlighted. And then over here on the side you can fill out what you want them, questions you want them to answer as they register. So obviously first name, last name, email, but you can add in different fields as well. So we have some basic questions that are already built in, or you can add in maybe some custom questions. And you can choose if it's going to be a required response or not. So next we want to make sure to save that. And then we'll be able to preview what it looks like. Next, you can choose the copy registration link, and then you'll be able to send that to your different groups of people that may need to register for the event. And then, of course, you want to make sure to send it to your presenters as well. Now, once you copy the registration link, you just want to hold on to that for a second because you do want to go back to this main page, which is where you were scheduling the webinar to begin with. And remember, we clicked View Registration Form to open up that component. But at this point, you do want to make sure to say Send, and that's going to place it on your calendar as well as the presenter's calendar. And there it is. So at that time, you'll be able to click on it. The presenters who you sent it to will be able to click on it, and you'll be able to see it. We'll also have the information to be able to join that meeting right here. So once the person receives the link to register for the event and they complete the form, they're going to see this message saying that an email was sent to their email, as well as they'll have the link to join the event if they need to join it immediately. But in most cases, it'll be a little while till they are able to join the event. So they'll also receive an email, and it will say that your seat is reserved, and it will have the information about when the event is. They can join the event through this link, or of course they would probably double click on this and add it to their calendar to join it at a later date. So as the host of this meeting, I might want to see who has registered for my event. And so to do that, I would go into my calendar area. I would click on the event itself. Notice it still has all this information that is needed, but I can still click on this registration link here, and it's going to download an Excel file, and it's going to show me who all has registered for my event thus far. So we see the registration information, we see their email, and we see any custom questions that we have added in, as well as their registration date when they completed that form to register for the event. While you're here, you can go ahead and change the meeting options, which you can do so right here or right here. And that's just good to do before you start the session so that you will have an idea of what the presenters are able to do and what participants are able to do when they join the session. So here we're choosing who can bypass the lobby, and remember the lobby area is just a holding ground. It's great for securing, not allowing people just to come straight into the session, but then somebody in the session does have to allow that person into the session. So it's kind of like a holding area. You can choose who you want to be held in the lobby area. You can allow people who are calling on the phone to bypass the lobby area, which is encouraged. You can allow specific people to present, and then you can choose who is going to be presenter there so that they will have presenting privileges. And then if you're going to allow the micro camera for the attendees, as well as what chats will be available. And so that's great to kind of set in place before you actually start the meeting itself. And again, if you need that registration link to be able to send out again, you can just come right here to your calendar area, select the meeting, and then choose up here at the top, copy registration link. And that will give you the link that you can send out that will send the people to the form to fill out. And then once they fill out the form, it will send them an email with the link to the Microsoft Teams meeting. The Teams webinar interface looks very similar to just the regular scheduled meeting interface. Pretty much the tools are all the same. Up here in the top, you'll see your turn on camera or your turn on or off your microphone. In addition to turning on your camera, you can choose to use the background effects. You can get through them here, or you can choose the more actions and then apply background effects. And you can choose just a blur to where it blurs your background. You can choose a specific background that you want to choose and to apply it if you would like. So this one's like a blurred background. You can't see what's behind me. Or I can choose a particular background that I want to use. So again, that's all just extra little features that you can have. In addition, you have your top icons here. You have the show participant panel, and that's going to show who's in the meeting, who's invited to the meeting but has not joined yet, as well as your ability to type in somebody to immediately invite them, or just get the share invite link to copy the link and send it to them in the chat or elsewhere. You also have the conversation piece, which is the thread to where you can have a text chat. Notice you can text chat, but you can also attach files here from OneDrive or upload from your computer. You can also send stickers or little cute emojis as well if you would like to. Next, you have the reaction feature. So you might say, give me a thumbs up if you are following along, and then people can give you a thumbs up and it'll show up in the chat area. It's also a great place for you to raise your hand if you have a question, and then the presenter will see this little note here under participants, and they'll be able to see who currently has their hand raised, and they can ask them that specific question. So that's a way that you can use that feature. Also, under the participants panel, you can come beside the name of the person and you can spotlight them, and you can add different features to them, make them into a presenter if they had already joined, etc. Also, under more actions, you can edit the meeting options, which basically just determines if you want a lobby area or not. Another interesting piece is turning on the live captions. When you turn this on, if you give it a second, it's going to start listing what were being said right here. So it tells the name of the person, and then it kind of follows along with what is being said. And that is important for accessibility. If you have someone who is not able to hear, or if you just have someone who doesn't have speakers on their computer, they can somewhat follow along with the captions. So that is available. Of course, the recording is available to you, and this is where you would start the recording. You would see that the button is up here in the top left to let you see that it is currently being recorded. So these are some of the main ones. You can also turn off incoming videos. So any videos that are on, you can turn them off, especially if you think that is bringing down the bandwidth. Additionally, you can choose to share content. There are three main types of share content that you can work with. The first one is sharing of your screen. So you would pick which screen you want to share, and then that would display on the computer for the guests, and they would follow along with your screen. Now, it is important to know that if you're going to be playing a YouTube video through your screen, you do want to check this box to say include with computer sound. And that way, when the video plays through your screen, it's going to play the sound as well through the webinar. So that will be important if you're playing a video. In addition, the second type of share content is the whiteboard. So you can select this, and it allows you and the team to collaborate on a whiteboard. You can choose if you want it to be presentation only or if you want it to be collaborative. It's up to you. You can also change this setting later on. And then you have your different writing tools to use. You can write with the pens, you can text chat on the screen, you can add little stickers, and then you can also add shapes as necessary, maybe for like a flow chart or something like that. So that is the whiteboard area. You can change those settings by coming here, and you can turn on and off the ability for other people to participate, whether you watch me or you actually engage in it. You can also export this whiteboard as an image to be posted in the chat or saved for later. So we shared the screen, we shared the whiteboard. The last thing you can share is the PowerPoint features. And so you would actually just choose the PowerPoint that you want to use. You can browse it from your computer, your OneDrive, or it might be uploaded here if you've used it before. Notice when you upload it, it's going to go into presentation view for you. So keep in mind when you're seeing this, it's like you're being in a regular computer, how you normally see the presentation view, which is allowing you to preview your slides that are coming up and see any notes you have listed. Remember that the audience is only seeing this main slide. If you want to see exactly what they're seeing, you can actually come here and hide presenter view, and it's just going to show you the one slide at a time, which is what the audience is seeing. In addition, up here at the top, you have the ability to turn off the audience's ability to move through the presentation on their own. I do encourage this because for the most part, you want them on the slide that you are currently on. If not, you might be talking about this slide and they might be on a total another slide. So this one basically makes them stick with you the whole time. So the last main key feature that is true for meetings as well as webinars are the breakout rooms. You can come here to the top. You can automatically assign breakout rooms or manually assign those breakout rooms. So from here, you'll see that the rooms will be created. You can add in more rooms if you need an additional room. You can also come beside them and rename the room if you don't want them named room 2, room 1, room 2. Automatically, if you chose automatically distribute, the people in the groups will automatically be placed in those. If you chose manually, you would have a listing of who is available and you can manually move them into whatever room you wanted to. And then you would have the ability to join those rooms. That would then move everyone out of the main room into those individual breakout rooms. So for example, I have a participant here that I can assign. So this is the person and I can assign him to whichever room I want him to go in. And so now when I'm ready to actually start the rooms, I choose start room. It's going to move everybody out of this main room into their respective breakout room. As the presenter and host, I'm not added to a breakout room myself, but I can choose to join any of these. And it's kind of like popping in and out, checking on different rooms. So I would just come beside it and choose join room, and that would also move me into the room with that particular person. Now this is like a room within a room, so I'm able to see the participants, I'm able to text chat, I'm able to raise my hand, I'm able to edit any of these other actions that we talked about earlier, turn on video and audio, as well as sharing of my screen, the whiteboard, or a PowerPoint. Then I can choose to leave that particular one and maybe move myself into another room and join another room that has people in it. So now let's talk about an additional feature, which is the polling option. So to add in the polling option, you would go to the chat area, and then down here at the bottom you would choose the 3 dots, and then you would search for forms. And then we want to add this into our Teams meetings so that we can add in polls. So first, maybe I want to add in my poll question that I'm going to have here. Then you can choose if you want to share the results automatically after voting, so everyone will be able to see just the general results, not who said what, but just a general poll, or if you want to keep those responses anonymous. So let's save that. We'll able to see a preview, and then we'll go ahead and send it. Then it will pop up here, and the students or the participants will be asked to vote. So here we see that 2 people have voted no, and from there we're able to go ahead and choose done, that the poll is complete since everyone answered. So the last thing to do is, if you want to leave the meeting, you choose leave up here at the top. Notice there are 2 options, leave the meeting or end the meeting. Leave the meeting allows you to leave the meeting but allows others in the meeting to still interact and carry on without you. Ending the meeting ends it all for everyone. In just a few moments, under the chat area for that particular meeting, you'll see a listing of the forms, the polls that were asked, as well as a list of the chats that were discussed during the session. But you'll also see the link to the video recording if it was recorded, and you'll be able to click on that and watch the recorded meeting.